Good morning. Here we are, Monday. Uh, so I got a fair amount of fence work done this week. Still not done, but we're inching closer to completion. We're I don't know, maybe halfway, a little more than halfway. Um, I think one more weekend of decent weather, and we'll be done with it. Um, so we were working Saturday, which was so hot, like you know, in the 90s, and just sunny and just baking out there in the sun. And we were kind of rushing because, there was supposed to be a thunderstorm, which didn't come till much later. But what are you going to do? And then, of course, Sunday was a beautiful day, which in retrospect, I kind of wish we had planned to work on Sunday. But you know, that's how it goes. My husband um, said that at least then, if we have a bad day and a good day, you might as well work on the bad day and enjoy the good day. So that was one good way of looking at it. But yeah, the weather is a little bit better today too. I think we'll see how long it lasts, um, but I'll take it. My plants are loving the rain, and I have gotten a lot of my little Tulsi plants repotted. We'll see how well they take. Some of them were very, very close together, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're going to make it or not. You never know, right? That's the little transplant shock is a real struggle. Um, but I'm hopeful that they will pull through and that I'll be able to keep them alive for the foreseeable future. Um, I don't know if they don't make it. Um, I'll keep going. If they grow, I mean, I really can't imagine like how much they could grow in a month. Could be a lot. So if they outgrow their pots or they're looking like they're not going to make it till September, I may end up giving them away, and that will just be it. There is a really good thing if you're like a gardener and you're interested in um, getting rid of extra plants, because I mean, if you do a fair amount of gardening, you always have excess plants, right? That's the nature of things. You if you grow things from seeds, you grow way too much because we always do, um, because you think that they won't sprout, and then they do, and you have twice as many as what you need. So if you're finding it hard to get rid of that stuff, if you're on Facebook, there are a couple uh, gardening exchange, like I think it's called Delaware Garden Exchange or something like that. If you're interested, send me an email if you can't find it, and let me know. I'll tell you. I'll look it up and I'll let you know what it is. It's been very helpful. I've gotten a lot of good information about where to find different types of plants, and then of course you can trade or just give away to anybody who who would like it. And there's always somebody who wants whatever you've got. Um, I'm amazed at what people are growing around here, like crazy stuff, bananas and pineapples, and things I would not have thought anyone could even grow, especially around here. But it's a great source of information and inspiration, and also, you can get rid of your stuff. Um, and you can do whatever you want. Some people do have people come to their house to pick stuff up. A lot of people meet somewhere, like pick a public place, and you can trade your plants there, which is probably because it is, it's an open Facebook group. That's probably the best way to do it, unless you know the person, which, of course, because it's a Delaware group, chances are you know the person or you know someone who knows the person. There's seems to be maybe one degree of separation amongst people who live in Delaware and Garden, right? It's a small, apparently a small enough group that it's there's a lot of overlap. So let's just do some awesome today. I don't really have anything to say. I think I talked to you last week, maybe mentioned briefly um, that I think Garfield Park classes, they're going to try to start them up in September. Don't have any more information on that. When I do, I will let you know. Um, but that will be good. And then I will have to figure out how I'm going to arrange that. If that happens, how I'm going to arrange these classes. I may do online the days that I'm not teaching there. I don't know. Uh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's a while yet. Um, so I don't have to decide just yet. But we'll see. We'll see what we feel like doing. Um, so actually, I will take a moment to mention something that I was just reading about this weekend. This idea of being on call, right? Um, and I think it's especially valuable now when people are working at home and working from home. This we have shifted, and this has been a pretty recent thing, right? I mean, obviously, if you're of my age or older, or maybe even a little younger, you remember a day when people could not get in touch with you. Maybe they left a message on your voicemail. Maybe you remember when voicemail wasn't even a thing. People didn't have answering machines. No, if somebody didn't pick up the phone, you didn't have, anything. Good morning, Sue. Um, so we managed to struggle on and survive like that for like I don't know, thousands of years, up until pretty recently when we've decided that it is imperative that we are able to stay in contact with one another 24/7. And when people don't respond, when people um, don't reply in a timely manner, we get mad, we get annoyed, right? We know they've read our mail, right? We can see the little spyware is telling us, oh, yeah, they read your mail, they read your message, they just don't want to respond. Um, let's remember, right? First of all, that we don't really need to be that in that close contact with people. We don't need to know their every move. We don't need to be able to contact them 24/7. We really don't. Second of all, let's not ascribe negative intention to something that is neutral, right? So let's say someone has read your message or read your mail, and you know this because there are, certain ways, certain messaging programs. If you're using an iPhone, if you're using different types of communication, they actually have a feature where you can tell if someone has read your mail or your message. Um, they may have, right? But remember that that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to respond or that um, there is a negative, right? It is a common fallacy and problem that we have as human beings is that we ascribe intention to every action or inaction, right? This is incorrect. This is our problem, right? This is not another person's problem. This is our problem. We come into situations with, right, a preconceived idea of how things are. If we feel kindly disposed towards someone, we give them more leeway. Oh, maybe they're busy. Oh, I know how hard it is for them. Right? If we feel negatively towards that person, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, they're just ghosting me. They're not, you know, right? The same action, the same exact situation, but our impression of it, our feelings about it are vastly different. Right? And again, I cannot stress more to you. This is you. It is not it is not what that other person's doing. That other person has either done or not done exactly the same thing, but it's how you feel about it. So, how about we cultivate a neutral feeling about it, right? And this is something that I've been trying to stress with my kids, and they're, when they are doing job hunting and job searching, right? Um, and telling myself, I've been putting out resumes, I've been putting out things, right? This is like, it's been like 30 years since I put a resume out there. It's crazy, but I've been doing this, and I've been trying to work through this process of feeling neutral, very neutral about these things, right? You don't know what the situation is when you send things out there. Um, you can imagine, right? So when my kids aren't hearing back from their job that they applied for, um, and they think, well, I guess they don't want to hire me, I'm going to say, you don't know that. You're assuming that, right? You've already decided that in your head. But in truth, all you know is that they have not gotten back to you one way or another. You don't know what that means. So why don't you find out what that means, right? Why don't you contact them? Hey, um, I'm interested. I'm still interested over here. How are things going on your end? um, you may not hear anything, or you could hear back. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. I am so busy. I just haven't gotten around to it, right? So rather than assume that they don't want you, they don't want to hire you, they don't want to respond to you, they don't like you, whatever it is, that negative thought you have in your head, how about you just think neutrally? Well, this person has not answered me. Could be a million reasons why. If it's important to me to find out, to follow up, why not? Why not contact them again? Hey, I didn't hear back from you. It's been a week, whatever. It's been whatever. What's going on? Can you respond? Um, what is your highest priority is frequently other people's lowest priority. Right? It's important to remember that because it's important to you does not mean it's important to other people. Um, and that's not bad, right? Their priorities are their own, and your priorities are your own. And if you think what you need is of high priority, you're going to need to advocate for it. You're going to need to speak up and not be mad and not be disappointed that other people don't care about your situation as much as you do. That's normal. That is a normal way for people to behave. Everyone has their own sphere, right? And those things are what are important. We don't know what other people's spheres are. We don't know what their priorities or pressures are. Um, to use this job hunting metaphor, you put out your resume, um, thinking that this person is just sitting over here waiting. Oh, I hope someone sends their resume. In truth, they have 100 other things to do. That's just one, and maybe the lowest priority thing that they have to do in their day. Um, so you can't take it personally. You can't, um, again, ascribe negative intention to this very neutral behavior that we all experience, right? So that's one. The second thing is, do you really need to be that connected? Do you really need to check your phone 20 times a day, 100 times a day? I don't know. Um, most phones, you can look and see, right? You can download stuff that will tell you, or you could probably look on your phone to see how many times have you used your phone. What how many hours have you spent on your phone? Um, and oftentimes it'll break it down. Like, I spent this much time browsing the internet, this much time on my email, this much time on Facebook, this much time on Instagram, or whatever it is that you tend to do. Um, Take a look at that. If you feel like you're spending a little too much time on your phone, see what it is. What are the things that are um, absorbing your interest? Right? Um, Setting limits when it comes to um, things like your phone, communicating, um, reading, right? These things are, and we have talked about this as well, this idea of consuming um, carefully. Um, when we are constantly on call, when we are at um, everyone's mercy with the phone and the email and the instant messaging and all of this, we have no control, right, over our consumption and over what comes into our our realm. Um, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, and you can get very burnt out. Um, Trying to read everything, trying to respond, trying to stay in the loop on what everybody's doing and what the world is doing and everything, everything, everything. Um, the phone is relentless and 24/7. And depending on what you have in terms of setup, you may have a news feed on a lot of these things. Um, it's important to also remember that that news feed is tailored to your interests, is tailored to what you read. So what you read, you will read more of, right? And it's a cycle. It's a snowball, right? So if you read, scary stories on your news, right? If you're reading about, the pandemic, or um, I don't know, whatever it is, like you read something and it's kind of scary, or it's dangerous or bad or whatever, you're going to get more of that. You're going to, your smartphone is going to seek out those things that it thinks you're interested in. And you may find that that's all you're getting in terms of news and points of interest. This this can be very disconcerting, right? It's overwhelmingly you get the information that you have been reading. So in your mind, things get bigger and bigger. You think, oh my God, this is all there is out there. Well, no, no, no. It's not at all what there is out there. It's all you seem to be interested in. So the phone, the AI, that search function is directing you in that way. Um, there is a great deal more going on out there, I assure you. But we get stuck in our little tunnel, right? And the tunnel is made worse by being surrounded again by suggested information that confirms all of these things that we've been reading. Um, so, in some ways, I feel like we're almost better off not doing that, right? If we're seeking out something that we're interested in, um, that's good. That's a good use of technology. It's a good use of Google and all that, is to answer your questions. If you have questions, you can look them up. Kind of passively consuming the information that they're pushing out to you, that's not a great use of the technology. Then you are, again, consuming, right? you're not. I think of it like when you are using Google to look up something you have a question or concern about, you are being a selective consumer, right? You are going to a restaurant and you are selecting the items off the menu that you need, that you would like, that you feel you are in need of eating, right? Something uh, that will fill fill you up nutritionally. It will help you with your, um, it's just it's a fine dining experience. Let's put it that way, right? When you are just reading your news feed blindly, it's like when they throw out slop to hogs, right? It's a type of consumption, but it is again the pigs don't get a choice in what they eat, right? They just eat because that's the food. We don't want that. You don't want that, right? You don't want to consume what is there because it's there. Um, we want to be careful consumers. And in this age of just the fire hose of information that's coming out all the time, it's all the more important, right, that we are careful about um, getting, keeping our perspective, getting um, our head straight about these things, looking at where this information is coming from, right? Of trying to avoid these sort of sensational stories that um, people write basically to get people to read them. Um, that's a thing to remember is that there are certainly sources of information that are meant to inform and to kind of make the world a better place. And then there are sources of information that are more entertainment, right? Than I would say information, right? Their main goal is to drive you to their site, is to cause you to click and to read uh, their stuff. It basically viewing the ads that are on the page. There's no actual information there. It's just filler. And sadly, I would say over the past 10 years, the the internet is just cluttered with this. You know, ads and entertainment masquerading as information. So, as consumers, we need to be really careful. We need to be a really um, critical, critical reader, and pay attention to where the stories are coming from. Um, if it's a legitimate site, it's a legitimate thing, or if it's just stuff to make you upset, stuff to rile you up. Um, it's hard to tell sometimes. Right? So we need to keep a steady head with this, keep a level head, keep our equanimity, right, when it comes to all of these things, and take a break, right? Become unreachable now and then. Um, I don't think my kids believe me when I tell them that we used to go places with no phone, with no, maybe maybe there was a payphone somewhere, I don't know, but not always. Like you never really noticed if there was a payphone around or not. Um, that was that, right? You go, a long time without communicating with anybody, and that was fine. Everybody was fine with that. It was good. Um, there is some value in that. There is some value in the silence and in the peace. So uh, take some time. Turn the phone off. Sometimes I leave my phone in my bag, like my purse, And then I just will just leave it there. I'll leave it there for a day or a couple days. Sometimes I will. Um, I mean, there are other ways. I can always check my email on my computer or something like that. If there's something I need, but honestly, if there isn't something that you need or something that you're waiting for, what's it going to hurt? You know, um, if people can't get in touch with you today, maybe they will tomorrow. Um, if we can think of instant messages and email as like voicemail, right? Or an answering machine message. It's like the best answering machine message of all because you don't have to keep rewinding it trying to do it. It's all written down for you. Um, think of it like that you've gotten that information. Someone can get in touch with you, but not right now. Not right now. Guard your free time. Guard your solitude. There is great value in that. And in this day and age where everything is instant, everything is immediate, everything is right up in your face, whether you like it or not, being able to step away and take some time for yourself is extremely important. So let's normalize that. let's let's make that not seem strange. The desire to not have to talk to someone or answer a question or do something every moment of the day. Um, it's a nice way to be. Um, all right. So let's do some asana. I find when I start feeling that way, that's when I need my break, right? So when I start, like if I send an email out to someone and they haven't gotten back to me right away, when I start getting annoyed about that I know that I need to take a break, right? That's a time that I need to maybe step away from the whole thing. Give myself a day, just no devices, no whatever, to kind of reset our expectation, so that we aren't part of the problem as well. Driving, because I mean, this isn't something that happened by itself. It happened because our expectations changed, right? Or the places, our expectations of interaction changed, and it didn't happen all at once. It's just little by little by little. So we can also scale that back little by little. Breath in and then drop the chin. Let your head hang. Lift up, keep lifting. Head drops back. Back to center, take a breath in, lower, head to the right. Back up and lower, head to the left. And back up. Lean forward, move around. One way and the other. Back up, arms wide. Take a deep breath and then exhale, hands together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Once more, inhale and exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift, gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace, or just lift the shoulders. We'll interlace the fingers in a minute. Roll back. And then roll forward. Now interlace the fingers. Squeeze back with the shoulders. Maybe set the hands down, just rest them on the mat. If you can, gaze up. And then fold forward. You can just leave the arms rest behind you, or you could lift them up. And come on back up. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind. Sit tall, deep breath. Take a twist. Switch sides. Twist. Back to center. Let's extend the legs wide. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to walk the hands out. You could bring them out on the legs, or you could walk them out in front. Your choice. Trying to keep the toes pointing up. Back up. Let's bring the feet a little bit closer. We're going to fold again. Sitting tall here, kind of lifting, and then leaning forward. If you're not sure how you're doing with this, if you feel like you might be rounding your back, bring your arms back. And then up to your seat. Let's bend the right knee. We're going to bring that foot in close to the thigh. Turn the body. So we're facing the left leg. Arms lift, take a deep breath, fold forward. And if you're having a hard time with this, if you feel like this really tight down in the hamstring, have a little bend in the knee. It doesn't have to be flat. You can have a little bend, and that may make it easier, may give you a little more room to fold without this real intense pressure on the back of the hamstring, right? Hamstrings are frequently a real sticking point And people get very frustrated with their flexibility because the hamstrings are kind of um, limiting where they're going. So a little bend will loosen that tightness. And what we don't want is to aggravate the hamstrings. Hamstrings, they can stretch over time, but especially if you're doing things like running or lifting weights, um, there are things, activities that we do that shorten the hamstrings over time. So if you're continuing to do those activities and doing yoga, there's going to be there's a balance that has to happen. If you're consistently shortening, even if you're stretching, it's gonna it's gonna even itself out, and you're never really going to change the structure. What's happening here, and that's fine. Right? I'm not saying you can't. You can do both. You can run and do yoga. You can lift weights and do yoga, but you have to understand your body will reflect that. So if you are going to be a runner, um, or a weightlifter or all of these other things, you are going to have your flexibility is going to be different than someone who doesn't do those things. So bend the knee a little bit. And it's hard, I think, for people because especially people who are very fit, who do a lot of activities, running, different things like that. They want to be able to do everything, to the nth degree, and they think, oh, bend the knee. That's a fail, right? I mean, I want to have a straight knee. It's not. It's understanding your body. It's understanding how what you do affects how your body functions. Um, it's just simple physics, right? I mean, it's how it works. Um, you can't be all things, right? If you look at like the physique of like a serious bodybuilder compared to the physique of a gymnast, they are very different. They are equally physically active, fit, perfect examples of what their sport has done to their body. But it's very different. And if you took a bodybuilder and had him do gymnastics, that could be a problem. And the same thing, a gymnast is probably not going to be equipped to lift the kind of heavy weights that a weightlifter does. So, our bodies are reflections of our activity or lack thereof, right? We can't escape it, no matter how much we want. Let's turn, face here, lift the arms, and fold. So your body is always trying to, make the best of it. It's noticing what you're doing, and then it's trying to develop to make whatever that series of activities are work better and more efficiently for your body. It's amazing, right? That we can do this, that we can change our structure based on what we need. Come on back up. Both legs out in front. Let's point and flex. And then rotate through the ankles one way and the other. Remember, if you tend to get cramps, foot cramps, and things like that, don't point your toes. Pull the toes back and point with the balls of the feet. That will change things. And if you are prone to getting foot cramps or cramps in your calf, do this as well, right? Pull the toes back, point with the ball of your foot. That will help kind of alleviate that. I know because I get foot cramps and leg cramps sometimes. If you get those consistently, you might want to look at your potassium level intake and other electrolytes like that, right? If that's oftentimes people that are low in some of the salts, potassium, the magnesium, things like that. You know, it, we uh, if you're exerting, if you're doing a lot of exercise and things like that, um, especially in this weather, taking some kind of a hydration tablet or something along with your, put it in your water. There's lots of ones out there on the market that have these electrolyte salts. Um, it can be very helpful, especially if you're working outside, like putting up a fence or something like that in the heat. Uh, have one of those. But even if you're not, right, even if you're just doing regular activities, say, you're doing a lot of walking or whatever, and, you're getting cramping or, leg problems, things like that, a little extra potassium, eat a banana, I think avocado has a lot of potassium, right? So as always, dietary forms of vitamins are the best. But if you can't do that, there are, you know, magnesium and potassium supplements you can take, or maybe they're in a multivitamin you can take. Um, this time of year, right, we want to be a little more careful about some of these things because of, the way the heat affects the body. So keep it in mind. Bend the knees, soles of the feet together, sit up tall, and fold forward. So a good source also of magnesium is Epsom salts. So I remember my grandmother, like drinking, like she put Epsom salts in water and drink it. I wouldn't do that. That's a pretty direct form of Epsom salts, but you could have a bath, right? Soak your feet, have a nice bath with the Epsom salts. It's a way to absorb it, and it can also really help. Um, I mean, it feels great if you're sore, your muscles are sore, but it's also good. I mean, magnesium is one of those things that we frequently don't get enough of, and we can definitely, most of us could really do with a little extra. Let's lower down. Take a few breaths. Let's bring the knees together. We're going to rock a little side to side. Lowering to the right, gaze left. And then lowering left, gaze right. Back to center. Extend the legs. And then lowering down, however you want. And just getting comfortable here on your mat. Shavasana. So just keep that peaceful state of being, focusing on sensations in the body, but keeping the mind free of any thoughts. Just release them if they pass into your notice. So increasingly, we live in a society, in a culture that expects multitasking, right? That it is accepted and expected that we would be trying to do lots and lots of things at once. We are working on the computer, looking at our phone, listening to music. People are talking next to us, and all of these things are happening at once, and we are meant to somehow function this way. Um, I would say no. Um, and studies have shown time and time again multitasking just means that you do each job poorer than you would if you were just focusing on one thing at a time. The fact that other people expect you to multitask doesn't mean you have to. Um, there's nothing wrong with you if you find that difficult. There is no, uh, there is nobody that does that well. There's some people that do it less poorly than others, but it still is not a great way to be. Um, Instead, let's eliminate some of our distractions and let's focus on one thing at a time. This is a gift that you give yourself and others. Your attention. It's precious. Um, it is, and I know you've had this sensation where you've been speaking to someone and you know that they are listening to you. They are giving you their whole heart, their whole attention. Um, Nothing matters as much as what is happening right now together. It is a really great feeling. Um, and it is a connection that is on par with that self connection, right? They see you, you see them. There is no substitute for this. There is no way to um, pretend. It is inferior when you are listening to someone to this and looking at that and trying to look at your phone and someone's talking to you. How can that compare? Um, that's not doesn't mean we're not going to have to do that from time to time, right? There are times when things get chaotic, but know that that is not the ideal. We can slow things down. We can turn off some of the devices. We can try to think about one thing at a time, one focus, one direction. Um, it will be better, right? You'll do a better job. You'll feel better. You won't be so exhausted. Um, it You may feel like you get less done, but I got to tell you, the quality of what you get done will improve. So, a single task. that's my my new plan. Single task. Coming back to awareness and movement, back to regular everything. Come on up to a seat. Let's bring hands together. Breath in, and out. Thank you for taking some time today for yoga and for sharing with me here. I hope that you have a very good Monday. Namaste. Okay, great. Um, oh, I was going to skip meditation, but you know what? I'm not going to. Why would I do that? It's only 5 minutes. See? Why? Why? Why would I do that? We ran a little long. That's okay. 5 minutes. If you need to go, you can go. I'm going to stay and do 5 minutes of meditation. Why not? All right. So we're sitting tall comfortably. Breathe. We've got that peaceful state of mind, comfortable and relaxed. Okay. That felt like a really long 5 minutes. I don't know. Maybe it did to you too. Maybe not. That was one of those where I was about ready to look at my phone because I'm like, did I forget? Did I not turn it on? I don't know. All right. Be back tomorrow. Enjoy your day.